You have asked yourself in silence, is it too late for me? You have watched the years pass, the dreams fade, the opportunities slip, and you have wondered whether life has already decided your fate. You hide it well, but there are nights when you sit alone and feel a fear deeper than failure, the fear that your moment has passed. Let me remove the fog with one sentence. There are no 5 signs it is too late for you. There is only one, and it is death. If you can hear these words, you are not dead. And because you are not dead, you are not finished. Your story is not over. Your hope is not expired. Your future has not been written in final ink. Life may not look like you thought it would, but that does not mean it cannot still become what you were meant to create. The path you imagined may have collapsed, but the path you need is still open. You have breath, you have will, you have imagination, and you have the power to begin again. Most men never rise after disappointment because they misunderstand what too late truly means. They think a broken plan is the end. They believe a failed attempt is the final verdict. They assume that if success has not arrived by now, it never will. But the truth is simple. Your life is not defined by what has happened to you, but by what you choose to do next. Let me speak directly to the part of you that feels tired, discouraged, or ashamed of where you stand. You are not beyond repair. You are not beyond recovery. You are not beyond transformation. Your potential is not exhausted. Your belief is. And belief can be rekindled. But before I show you how to rebuild that belief, you must understand the deception that traps most people. They look for signs that it is too late, instead of creating signs that it is still possible. They search for evidence of doom instead of evidence of opportunity. They interpret setbacks as final sentences instead of temporary detours. You may think you need reassurance. You do not. You need direction. You need structure. You need a plan powerful enough to reawaken your spirit, reignite your hope, and restore your sense of control. You need a daily pattern that pulls your life upward even when your emotions pull downward. And I will give you that pattern. Not 5 signs of doom, but 5 habits, 5 daily rules that can make the next 30 days the strongest days of your life. But you must be prepared before you receive them. If I place them before you too quickly, your mind will skim them, admire them, and forget them by nightfall. These habits require seriousness. They require reverence. So first, you must confront a deeper question. What do you truly believe about your future in this moment? Do you believe it can still improve? Do you believe you can still rise? Do you believe you can still become the person you once expected yourself to be? Or have you accepted a smaller life than the one you were meant to build? Your belief matters because nothing in life changes until your thoughts change. Not your income, not your opportunities, not your relationships, not your habits. All transformation begins internally, long before the world sees its evidence. You cannot build a powerful life with a defeated mind. Understand this. The fact that you are listening now is not an accident. Men do not seek messages of hope when they are done living. They seek them when they are ready to rise again. And if you are ready, even a little, then the next 30 days can become a turning point in your destiny. But you must abandon the idea that your life should already look perfect. No great story begins with everything in place. No triumph begins with ideal conditions. No breakthrough begins in certainty. Every rise begins in confusion, discomfort, disappointment, and the decision to keep moving anyway. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You are being prepared. Those years where nothing made sense were not wasted. Those seasons where you felt stuck were not empty. Those delays you cursed were not punishment. They were foundation. They hardened you, sharpened you, stripped you of illusions, and forced you into honesty. You are stronger than you realize. And now, because you are still breathing, still fighting, still searching, you are ready to begin a rebuild. Not a simple adjustment, but a reconstruction of your identity, your thought, your discipline, your purpose. But rebuilding requires a pattern. You cannot drift your way into transformation. You cannot wish your way into progress. You cannot hope your way into certainty. Progress is built, not granted. Hope is strengthened through action, not imagination. That is why, instead of warning you with 5 signs that it is too late, I will give you 5 daily rules that can reignite your life. 5 habits that create momentum even when emotion fails. 5 disciplines powerful enough to restore belief where doubt has lived too long. I will not give them to you now, not yet. You must feel the weight of what they can change before you receive them. Because these 5 habits, if practiced for 30 days with sincerity and seriousness, can alter the trajectory of your entire year and your entire future. Imagine this: 30 days from now, you wake up feeling different. Not because circumstances changed, but because you changed. Your mind will be clearer, your decisions sharper, your focus stronger, your confidence renewed. You will feel direction again, meaning again, purpose again. You will recognize yourself again. But first, we stand at the doorway, and I must place one truth before you with absolute authority. It is not too late for you. It never was. The world may have convinced you otherwise, but the world was wrong. As long as there is breath in your lungs, the clock has not run out. Now prepare yourself. What comes next is not comfort, it is transformation. You will not hear 5 signs of despair. You will hear 5 rules of power, 5 habits that will rebuild you from the inside out. And when you embrace them, the next 30 days will become the beginning of the life you thought you lost. Rule 1, begin each day with one directed mental exercise. Every morning, before the noise of the world claims you, there exists a sacred window, a quiet moment between sleep and the storm of duties. In that space, your mind is soft as clay, ready to be shaped by the first impression you give it. Most men waste this divine moment by allowing worry, routine, or memory to dictate their first thought. But the wise man seizes it. He begins his day by commanding his mind. Understand this clearly. All things are created twice, first in thought, then in form. Every building, business, discovery, and destiny began as a single mental picture. The mind is the workshop where invisible ideas are hammered into reality. If you begin each morning without deliberate thought, you begin the day as a servant to chance. But if you begin it with direction, you step forth as a master of circumstance. This rule demands no special talent. It asks only for awareness. Before the world speaks, you must speak to yourself. Before you meet another person, you must meet your own thought. 10 minutes of deliberate mental direction will save you 10 hours of confusion. 1 moment of inward command will determine whether your day builds you or breaks you. When you wake, do not rush to noise. Do not reach for distraction or stimulation. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and turn your thought inward. Ask yourself, what kind of man will I be today? What spirit will govern me? Fear or faith, complaint or purpose? Then choose. Declare your answer aloud, for the spoken word fixes thought as law. If the day feels heavy, do not flee it. Face it with authority. Whisper within, today I command my mind to be my ally. I think with direction, I speak with order, I act with confidence. Repeat this slowly until you feel the vibration of certainty rise through you. This is not superstition, it is science. You are training your subconscious to obey you rather than the world. Consider Henry Ford. Before issuing major decisions, he sat in silence, sometimes for hours. His assistants called it doing nothing, yet that stillness gave birth to empires. He understood that calm thought is the highest form of action. The mind, when composed, becomes a magnet. It draws ideas, people, and events into harmony with its direction. The frantic mind, like a stormy sea, repels all that could aid it. There exists a law seldom recognized. Undirected thought invites chaos. Directed thought invites order. You cannot expect life to arrange itself if your mind begins each day disarranged. If your inner world is restless, your outer world will reflect confusion. Begin, therefore, by establishing mental peace. For peace is not the absence of noise. It is the mastery of attention. You may protest that you do not have time, yet time spent establishing mental direction multiplies all other time. The man who invests 10 minutes in order gains back 10 hours in efficiency. The man who neglects it wastes the day chasing problems that would have dissolved had his first thought been rightly chosen. Let me show you the difference between idle reflection and directed imagination. Reflection looks backward. It reviews what was. Imagination looks forward. It commands what shall be. Begin your morning not by remembering failure, but by envisioning victory. If yesterday was chaotic, see today as calm. If yesterday you hesitated, see yourself now decisive. The subconscious mind accepts these images as instructions. It builds your reality accordingly. There was once a salesman who came to me, discouraged beyond measure. His confidence had been broken by rejection. His income had fallen. His spirit was dull. I asked him, "How do you begin your morning?" He confessed that he began by fearing the day, imagining failure before he left his bed. I told him to reverse the process. Each morning, he was to sit silently, close his eyes, and imagine successful calls, friendly faces, firm handshakes, and orders signed. Within weeks, his sales increased. Nothing external had changed, only his first thought each morning. That is the power of directed imagination. It is faith made practical. Whatever the mind pictures with belief, the body and circumstances begin to fulfill. This is no mystery. It is the same law that allows the seed to become the tree. The image is the pattern. Life merely follows it. Here's how to perform your morning exercise. Rise before the noise of the world. Sit upright, not slouched, so the body reflects dignity. Breathe deeply and slowly. Let all worry fall away. Then picture the kind of day you desire, not in vague hopes, but in definite pictures. See yourself calm under pressure, decisive in choice, gracious in word, firm in purpose. Feel gratitude as though it were already done. Do not analyze, do not question. Simply believe that the power that governs the stars governs your thoughts when they are definite. The subconscious will accept your morning command as truth, and it will guide you silently through the day to fulfill it. You will notice small miracles. The meeting that once felt anxious will flow easily. The conversation you dreaded will turn in your favor. The problem that worried you will find solution. Others will begin to comment that you appear calm, focused, assured. They will not know that you have simply begun your day as ruler of your thought instead of prisoner of it. Each morning, you plant the seed of your destiny. The soil of your mind awaits your command. If you sow fear, fear will grow. If you sow confidence, confidence will multiply. Therefore, guard your first thoughts of the day as you would guard gold. Let no complaint or self-pity enter, for what begins in complaint ends in confusion. Begin instead with faith, and the day must serve you. Repeat this truth until it engraves itself upon your heart. My thoughts are organized, therefore my world is organized. Speak it slowly and deliberately. Words backed by feeling create vibration. Vibration creates movement. Movement creates form. You are not a victim of circumstance, but the architect of it. When the mind is trained to begin the day with directed thought, it begins to carry that order forward subconsciously. You will find yourself guided by intuition that seems divine, saying the right word, taking the right step, choosing the right path. This is not luck, it is law. The man who orders his thought once in the morning orders his entire day. In time, this exercise will require no effort. It will become habit, the mind's automatic response upon waking. You will open your eyes and immediately align with purpose. You will feel an invisible power flowing through you before your feet touch the floor. This is the natural state of the awakened mind, calm, definite, expectant. Think of it as tuning your instrument before the performance. No orchestra begins without first adjusting every note. Your mind is the instrument of life. Tune it daily, and the symphony of your existence will follow harmony. And remember, do not despise the simplicity of this act. Men look for grand solutions, yet the profound truths are always simple. The morning command of thought may seem small, but it determines everything that follows. Begin your day rightly, and you will end it triumphantly. Say to yourself tomorrow as the light rises, "This day is my servant. I think clearly, act decisively, speak truthfully, and live fearlessly. My thought is my law, and my law is peace." Then walk forward knowing that the invisible world moves to fulfill your decree. For the mind, once directed, is the greatest power on earth, and the man who governs his first thought governs his fate. Rule 2. Study the philosophy of achievement daily. There is a truth so plain that men often overlook it. The mind, like the body, grows weak without nourishment. You would not expect your strength to remain if you starved your body for days. Yet countless men go months, years, even lifetimes without feeding the mind with new thought, new faith, new understanding. And then they wonder why courage falters, why confidence withers, why purpose fades. The second rule is simple. Each day, feed your mind the philosophy of achievement. Read, study, or listen to one great idea that renews your belief in power, order, and purpose. It need not be long. It need not be complex, but it must lift your thought. For as the body becomes what it consumes, so the mind becomes what it contemplates. Understand this well. The mind never remains the same. It moves upward or downward according to the material it absorbs. If you do not fill it with strength, it fills itself with fear. If you do not train it with truth, it trains itself with doubt. This is why so few men rise. Their minds are fed by the world's noise instead of wisdom's voice. Every great achiever I have known was a student, lifelong, relentless, humble before knowledge. Andrew Carnegie required that every man in his inner circle read and discuss the principles of success until they could apply them instinctively. His faith in knowledge was not sentiment, it was discipline. He said, "Show me what a man reads, and I will show you the height of his ambition." Each morning or evening, take a few minutes to study something that strengthens your philosophy of achievement. Study not as a scholar, but as a builder studies a blueprint. Let each idea remind you that law, not chance, governs success. You are not a creature of accident. You are an agent of design, the law of cause and effect, the law of faith, the law of definiteness. These are eternal truths. When you revisit them daily, they become part of your thinking until doubt can no longer uproot them. Most men forget truth faster than they forget their own name. They hear a great principle once, nod in approval, and then return to old habits of confusion. But knowledge unrepeated fades into dust. Truth must be revisited daily until it becomes instinct. You must remind yourself each day that you are powerful, that order exists, that purpose governs life. This is why repetition is salvation. Repetition engraves faith into the subconscious. The same way the farmer waters his field daily, though the seeds are unseen, you must water your mind with truth, though the harvest seems distant. Every page you read, every principle you restate, every moment of reflection deepens your mental roots. When storms of doubt come, and they will, you will stand firm because you have built a fortress of thought. Consider the example of Thomas Edison. Before every major experiment, he reread his notes on the principles of invention, not because he had forgotten them, but because he wished to feel them again. His study restored his conviction. He said, "I am not discouraged because every wrong result is another step forward." That statement was not born of accident. It was the product of daily study and persistence. To study daily is to bathe the mind in renewal. You wash away the dust of fear that settles during the day's toil. You clear the channels through which inspiration flows. When you neglect study, your faith dries, your perspective narrows, and your imagination grows brittle. But when you return each day to the philosophy of achievement, your mind remains supple, creative, and alert to opportunity. Do not study only when you feel lost. Study to stay found. Do not study only when in despair. Study to prevent despair. It is not emergency medicine, it is daily nourishment. Read one paragraph, one page, or one principle, but do it every day. The quantity matters less than the continuity. The mind obeys rhythm, not occasional effort. Think of a fire. If you add fuel to it each day, it grows steady and bright. If you neglect it, it dies, no matter how much wood you add later. Your belief works the same way. It must be fed daily to keep your inner flame alive. Now, what should you study? Anything that reminds you of law and possibility. Read the writings of men who have achieved great things. Study biographies of those who turned obstacles into opportunity. Read passages of timeless truth that teach order, purpose, faith, persistence, and service. Let your daily study become a mirror that reflects what is possible for you. But remember this, study not to memorize, but to remind. The purpose is not to impress others with knowledge, but to impress yourself with conviction. If you read one great truth and feel it deeply, you have done more than the man who reads 100 pages without thought. Knowledge must be applied through emotion before it becomes power. Each principle you revisit should be linked to your current struggle. When you read of definiteness of purpose, ask yourself, am I definite today? When you study persistence, ask, where have I allowed discouragement to stop me? When you review faith, ask, have I trusted myself fully? This is not passive reading, it is mental training. Affirm daily. Each day I feed my mind faith, direction, and discipline. My mind becomes what I study. Speak this aloud, for repetition of sound engraves meaning upon the subconscious. Say it with feeling until your mind believes it. Do not be deceived into thinking you can skip this exercise once you feel strong. The mind is like a field. It produces weeds automatically, but flowers only through cultivation. Even the most disciplined thinker must guard against drift. Daily study keeps the weeds of doubt from choking the seeds of vision. Carnegie once said to me, men fail not because they do not know, but because they forget. And it is true. The world pulls at you from every side. Fear whispers through newspapers. Gossip drains your spirit. Trivial conversation scatters your thought. You must daily repair what the world erodes. That is the duty of study. If you do not renew your philosophy, the world will replace it with its own, a creed of limitation, mediocrity, and fear. You will begin to think as the crowd thinks, to act as the crowd acts, to expect what the crowd expects, and the crowd expects failure. Guard your mind against it. Every great man has had a daily ritual of mental feeding. Lincoln read scripture to steady his spirit during war. Edison studied his journals to refresh his vision. Ford listened to thoughtful lectures to refine his ideas. Carnegie surrounded himself with thinkers whose conversation elevated him. None of these men considered study optional. They treated it as the breath of success. You may say, I have no time to study. Yet you have time to worry, time to scroll through trivialities, time to complain. Replace one wasted habit with one act of wisdom. 10 minutes of right study each morning will yield hours of right action. Knowledge does not consume time, it multiplies it. Study is not a luxury. It is the foundation of all mental mastery. You cannot hold faith without reminding yourself daily of why faith matters. You cannot maintain confidence without hearing again the truth that built it. You cannot persist without reawakening the reason for your persistence. To study daily is to pledge allegiance to your higher self. It is a declaration that you will not let the world dictate your state of mind. Each page of truth read, each principle recalled, strengthens that pledge. When you begin this rule, you may feel resistance, The mind, long undisciplined, resists new structure, but do not yield. Each repetition makes the process easier. Soon you will find yourself craving the quiet nourishment of study. You will wake eager to feed your thought, and on days when you cannot read, your mind will replay the truths you have stored. As the days pass, you will notice subtle change. Where before you reacted, you will now respond. Where before you doubted, you will now decide. Where before you sought reassurance, you will now offer it. People will feel the difference in your presence, calmer, more assured, more focused. They may not know that daily study created this, but you will. When discouragement strikes, return to your study. When fatigue sets in, return again. Knowledge of truth is a lamp that never burns out, only grows dim when neglected. Relight it each day. And remember, study alone changes nothing. It must be followed by thought, and thought by action. But study prepares the soil. It keeps faith fertile so that ideas can root deeply. This rule, faithfully practiced, will renew your belief every morning. It will build a spiritual shield against doubt. It will remind you that you are not alone in law, that infinite intelligence stands behind all who think with definiteness and act with faith. You will come to feel that same quiet confidence that filled the hearts of every great builder of progress. You will realize that your circumstances matter less than your philosophy, for your outer world will always adjust to your inner creed. Begin tonight or tomorrow morning. Take one book, one page, one idea. Read slowly, think deeply, and let the idea live in your heart throughout the day. Observe how the world responds differently when your mind is strengthened by principle. Then repeat this act every day without fail. Let it become habit until you can no longer imagine beginning a day without food for your thought. You will soon find that success is not something you pursue. It is something that flows naturally from a nourished mind. And at the end of a month, when you look back upon the man you were before you began this practice, you will barely recognize him. His confusion will seem foreign, his discouragement childish, his fear absurd. You will stand taller, think clearer, and act with calm authority. This is the law of daily study. What you feed your mind today becomes your reality tomorrow. What you read repeatedly becomes what you believe, and what you believe, life obeys. Therefore, do not neglect your mental meal. Feed yourself truth every day, and life itself will become your pupil. Rule 3. Record your 3 to 6 chief aims for the day. The weakest man on earth is not the man without strength. It is the man without direction. Strength without aim is like a cannon fired into the wind. It makes noise but no impact. Energy without purpose is exhaustion in disguise. The man who does not decide what he will do with his day ends up doing what the day decides for him. That is why the third rule is so vital. Each morning, before you take a single step into the world, you must sit down, take a pen, and write 3 to 6 definite aims for the day. Not a vague list of wishes or hopes, but a declaration of purpose. These aims become your marching orders. They transform the day from accident into achievement. Do not underestimate the power of this simple act. The written word is not merely a record, it is a command. The moment you write your aim, you impress it upon your subconscious mind. The moment your subconscious accepts it, life begins organizing the means for its fulfillment. Writing fixes thought into form. Thought held in the mind is vapor. Thought written becomes law. This rule is older than any book of business or psychology. It is the same principle that guided explorers, builders, and inventors. Men of great accomplishment did not drift into success. They designed it daily. Andrew Carnegie would not begin his day until his most important objectives were written before him. He called it marching the army of thought into battle. The mind must be told what to do or it will waste itself in random motion. If you do not give it an order, it will chase distraction, respond to emergencies, and spend the day reacting instead of creating. The world is filled with men who work hard but achieve little because they move without plan. They spend years walking in circles, mistaking activity for advancement. You must understand that an unwritten aim is a lost aim. The man who says, "I know what I want, I have it in my head," deceives himself. Until the aim is written, it is nothing more than vapor. The act of writing burns it into your nervous system. It transforms thought into decision, decision into action, and action into result. Each morning, when your mind is clear and still, take a single page. Right at the top, my chief aims for today. Then list between 3 and 6 items that matter most. Do not write 20. Confusion weakens conviction. The law of concentration demands focus. A mind divided by too many tasks achieves none. 3 great achievements are better than 30 scattered attempts. Write them in the language of decision, not doubt. Do not write, "I hope to finish my project." Write, "I will complete this task with precision and faith." The word will contain command. The subconscious obeys certainty. It ignores hesitation. Every sentence you write should carry the tone of mastery. Each aim must serve your larger purpose in life. Do not fill your list with trivial duties. Those belong to clerks, not builders. Ask yourself, what 3 things, if done today, will move me nearest to my definite chief aim? Those belong on your list. Everything else is dust. When you first begin this rule, you may struggle to choose. The undisciplined mind is pulled in all directions, but persist. In time, you will learn to recognize what truly matters. The act of selecting your aim sharpens judgment. It forces you to choose between the important and the urgent. The world praises urgency, but destiny rewards importance. Charles M. Schwab, the man who built Bethlehem Steel into an empire, once faced the problem of scattered effort among his executives. He sought counsel from a man named Ivy Lee, who gave him this advice. Write your 6 most important tasks each day. Begin with the first, and do not move to the next until it is finished. Schwab tried it. Within months, production soared. He later said it was the most profitable lesson he ever paid for. What made this advice so powerful was not its complexity, but its definiteness. It gave structure to the day. It removed hesitation. It taught men to finish what they began. The subconscious mind, when given one task at a time, becomes like a laser, focused, relentless, efficient. When given too many, it becomes like a scattered light, bright but powerless. When you record your aims, you give the mind its orders for the day. You tell it, "These things matter above all else." Then the mind, like a faithful servant, begins to look for ideas, people, and opportunities that help you fulfill them. By midday, you will notice yourself drawn to the right actions. Seemingly by coincidence, solutions appear. That is no accident. It is law. Let me tell you a story. A struggling writer once came to me, frustrated by years of unfinished manuscripts. He complained that inspiration came and went like weather. I told him to stop waiting for inspiration and start writing his aims. Every morning, he was to write 5 sentences. "I will write 1,000 words today. I will submit my work. I will complete 1 story every week. I will believe that I am a writer." He obeyed. Within a year, he published his first book. It was not magic. It was mental order applied through writing. Each line you write in the morning becomes a quiet voice in your subconscious throughout the day. When fatigue comes, it whispers, "You decided this morning to finish." When distraction tempts you, it reminds, "You chose this, and you must honor your choice." Thus, your morning list becomes a silent commander that leads you even when willpower fades. Now, let me warn you of the greatest danger to this practice: neglect. The first few days, you will feel enthusiasm. Then, the old habit of drift will tempt you to skip one morning. You will say, "It's not necessary today. I know what to do." That is the whisper of laziness disguised as confidence. Resist it. The habit of writing aims must become sacred. Skip once and drift returns. Keep it daily and power grows. You will notice as you continue this discipline that your days take on a sense of clarity unknown to most men. You will no longer feel at the mercy of events. You will end each night with satisfaction instead of regret. For when the day's aims are finished, rest feels earned. The man who works with purpose sleeps with peace. This practice does not merely organize your time, it organizes your consciousness. It teaches your mind to expect completion. Success begins to feel natural because it has become daily. You will begin to feel momentum, and momentum is the soul of achievement. There is a difference between a wish and an aim. A wish is emotional. It desires without decision. An aim is intellectual. It decides and commands. The wish says, I hope. The aim says, I will. The wish looks at circumstances. The aim creates them. Each morning you must convert your wishes into aims by writing them as laws. Repeat to yourself, my aims are written. My direction is clear. My results are certain. Speak it aloud with conviction. Let the rhythm of those words engrave belief. In time, your subconscious will begin to feel uneasy when your aims are incomplete. It will push you forward, remind you, urge you. This is how habit is formed, not through effort, but through consistent pattern. And what happens to the man who writes his aims daily? He becomes a magnet for opportunity. People sense his clarity. They feel his decisiveness. They trust his direction. In a world of drift, definiteness stands out like a beacon. Employers, investors, partners, each is drawn to the man who knows exactly what he intends to do. Contrast this with the man who never writes anything. He wakes in confusion, works in confusion, ends in confusion. His energy is strong but wasted. His days are busy but barren. His life becomes a series of half-built structures, nothing finished, nothing mastered. The difference between him and the man of written aims is not intelligence, it is order. Remember always that life obeys definiteness. The moment you make up your mind and declare it in writing, invisible forces begin to align. The very act of choosing gives life permission to move. But if you hesitate, the world hesitates with you. Decision is creative. Indecision is destructive. Each aim you complete builds faith in yourself. Each completed day becomes evidence that you can rely on your own discipline. Faith, once built upon action, becomes unshakable. The man who trusts himself attracts the trust of others. Let your morning list become your silent covenant with destiny. When you write it, mean it. When you read it, feel it. When you act upon it, honor it. At the end of each day, look at your list. Place a mark beside each completed aim. Feel gratitude, not pride, for the law that allowed you to accomplish it. Gratitude seals the habit. Soon you will notice that your aims no longer feel forced. They flow naturally. Your subconscious, trained through repetition, will begin preparing the next day's list before you write it. You will wake with ideas already formed, with direction already clear. This is mental organization at its finest. The mind working for you instead of against you. You may wonder, what if I fail to complete my aims? Then you have learned something equally valuable, where your weakness hides. Study it, correct it, and move forward. The habit of writing daily aims teaches you not only how to succeed, but how to recognize the cause of delay. Each day written and directed becomes a brick in the structure of your larger purpose. Miss one brick and the wall still stands. Miss many and the structure weakens. Therefore, honor each morning's practice as a sacred appointment with your own destiny. Others will soon notice a change in you. They will see a man who moves with purpose while others wander. They will see clarity in your speech, precision in your actions, calm in your eyes. They will say you have good luck, not knowing that your luck began with a pen and a piece of paper. You will find that the habit of writing aims eliminates fatigue. The mind grows tired only when pulled in many directions. But when it has one course, energy concentrates. The more definite the aim, the stronger the spirit. Indecision drains vitality. Decision restores it. There's nothing mystical in this, only mental law. The subconscious mind obeys whatever it believes to be definite. By writing, you give it that definiteness. By repeating, you reinforce it. By completing, you confirm it. Practice this rule for 30 days without fail. Write 3 to 6 aims each morning and complete them. At the end of the month, review your results. You will find you have accomplished more in those 30 days than in the 6 months before. You will feel stronger, calmer, and more certain. Your confidence will no longer depend on circumstance, but on discipline. Then and only then will you truly understand what Carnegie, Schwab, and every other builder of success discovered. That order is the mother of achievement, and definiteness the father of power. So begin tomorrow morning. Take a sheet of paper. Write your aims. Choose them with care. Write them in faith. Act on them with persistence. And remember, a day directed is a day redeemed. Say aloud before you begin. Today I write the law of my destiny. My mind obeys my words. My work fulfills my will. My aims guide my power. Then take the first step, and the world will adjust itself around your decision. For the man who writes his purpose each morning never walks without direction again. Rule 4. Examine your thoughts, actions, and failures each night. When darkness falls and the noise of the world grows still, a man is left alone with his own mind. It is in this quiet hour that truth stands revealed. During the day, we may deceive others with words or appearances, but at night, when all performance ends, we can no longer hide from ourselves. What we are in that hour determines what we will become. The 4th rule is this. Before you sleep, examine your thoughts, your actions, and your failures. Take account of your day as a merchant takes account of his goods. See what profited you, what cost you, and what can be improved. The day unexamined is a day wasted, for reflection is the bridge between error and wisdom, between confusion and clarity, between weakness and strength. Understand this deeply. Experience alone does not teach. Only evaluated experience teaches. Millions go through the same failures again and again because they never stop to study them. They hurry from mistake to mistake, hoping that life will somehow correct itself. But life does not reward repetition of folly. It rewards recognition of law. Only the man who pauses to think learns the hidden meaning of his trials. Before the mind can grow stronger, it must be trained to look inward. The untrained mind blames everything outside itself. Circumstances, people, fortune. But the master examines himself. He asks, where did my thought create this? Where did my action invite this? What must I change? The man who dares to ask these questions daily will outgrow others swiftly, for he learns from each hour what most men fail to learn in years. Do not fear this nightly meeting with yourself. It is not a trial to condemn you. It is a counsel to improve you. The purpose is not guilt, but growth. A man who punishes himself for his mistakes gains nothing. A man who studies them becomes invincible. Every error hides a lesson, and every lesson once learned becomes a shield against future failure. I have seen men rise from ruin simply because they developed the habit of nightly reflection. One young executive I once advised began this rule at my insistence. Each night he would sit in silence for 15 minutes and review his day. He asked himself 3 questions. What did I think today? What did I do? What must I correct? Within months, his confidence increased, his results multiplied, and his peace returned. Why? Because he had ceased drifting. He was steering his own mind. There is a law in the mind known as autocorrection. When you study your own behavior honestly, the subconscious begins to adjust automatically. It cannot correct what it ignores, but once it sees the truth, it starts to align action with ideal. That is why awareness is power. To observe oneself is to awaken self-control. Abraham Lincoln, during the burdened years of war, practiced this principle with humble devotion. He would sit alone at night, reviewing his words and deeds, measuring them against his conscience. He once said, "I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true." That truth came from his nightly self-examination. It is impossible to rule others wisely until one has learned to rule oneself honestly. Think of your mind as a ship's compass. Each day, winds of emotion, influence, and environment pull you off course. Without correction, you drift far from your destination. But a wise captain adjusts his bearing each night. Only through reflection does he remain on course. The same is true of you. Nightly self-examination is your return to alignment with purpose. Here is how to practice it. Before retiring, take a few quiet moments alone. Do not read, do not distract. Let silence settle around you. Then, with pen in hand, if possible, ask yourself 3 questions. First, what did I think today? Review the quality of your thought. Were your dominant ideas those of faith or fear, purpose or doubt? Thought is the seed of all action. To examine thought is to study the cause of results. Second, ask, what did I do? List your actions honestly, especially those that carried emotion. Did you fulfill your chief aims? Did you waste time on trifles? Did you treat others with integrity? Were you patient, courageous, generous? The goal is not perfection, but awareness. The man who knows where his strength lies multiplies it. The man who knows where his weakness hides can correct it. Third, ask, what must I correct? This question transforms reflection into progress. It prevents regret from turning into paralysis. Write down 1 correction for tomorrow, just 1. This converts insight into action. You are training the subconscious to expect improvement daily. Over time, small corrections compound into great transformation. Do not rush this process. The mind reveals truth slowly when approached with patience. Sit until the answers come. At first, they may be uncomfortable. Truth always disturbs false comfort, but that disturbance is the sound of growth. Only the brave endure it long enough to be transformed. You may wonder, why nightly? Why not weekly or occasionally? Because the mind, like the garden, must be tended daily. Neglect allows weeds of confusion to grow overnight. Each evening's reflection clears the soil for tomorrow's purpose. The man who reviews himself daily never drifts far from his ideal. He corrects himself while the deviation is small. Self-examination also strengthens peace of mind. Worry often arises not from real problems, but from unresolved thought. When you review your day, you close its unfinished chapters. You leave nothing festering in the subconscious to disturb your rest. The man who ends his day consciously sleeps in calm assurance. The man who ends it unconsciously carries his burdens into his dreams. Repeat this affirmation before sleep. My failures instruct me. My mind improves in silence. I end each day stronger than I began. These words remind your subconscious that life is a school, not a battlefield. Each mistake is tuition paid for wisdom. Do not allow pride to interfere with this practice. The proud man refuses to examine himself, fearing what he might find. But humility is the hallmark of greatness. Every builder of progress has been humble enough to say, I was wrong yesterday, but I will be wiser tomorrow. If you perform this rule faithfully, you will soon develop a strange new awareness. Throughout the day, you will catch yourself in error more quickly. You will remember, even mid-sentence, what you wish to improve. The habit of reflection brings light into every hour. It sharpens judgment, strengthens conscience, and heightens self-command. Let me tell you another story. There was once a man who had failed in 3 businesses, lost his home, and was estranged from his family. He came to me in despair, believing himself cursed. I gave him no advice, no plan, only this rule. I told him to spend 15 minutes each night in silent review of his day. To his surprise, within a week, he noticed patterns. He saw that his failures were not caused by fate, but by haste, by neglect, by poor temper. Once seen, they could be changed. Within a year, he rebuilt his fortune and his family. His recovery began not with opportunity, but with self-observation. Reflection transforms emotion into understanding. It changes guilt into growth, fear into faith, confusion into order. It teaches the mind to extract gold from disappointment. Most men waste their pain because they never examine it. The wise man mines it until it yields wisdom. If you practice this nightly, you will feel an expanding calm each evening. You will lie down knowing you have faced yourself honestly. You will rise each morning lighter because you carry no residue of regret. Discipline cleanses the mind of yesterday's clutter. As you continue, keep a small notebook for your reflections. Write the lessons you discover, no matter how small. Over weeks and months, you will begin to see the progress of your own evolution. You will notice old faults disappearing, new strengths forming. The page will become a mirror of your inner growth. Do not worry about writing beautifully. The purpose is not expression, but awareness. Your notes are not for others. They are the conversation between your conscious and subconscious minds. Through this written dialogue, you build cooperation between the two. If you have failed, write the cause plainly, but also write the remedy. Never end your reflection with defeat. End with a decision. The mind closes each day on the last thought you give it. Make that thought constructive. Say, tomorrow I will act with courage. Tomorrow I will think with faith. Tomorrow I will improve upon this day. Then rest, knowing the order has been given. When discouragement visits you, and it will, this practice will sustain you. The man who reflects nightly can never believe his failure is final. He sees each day as a chapter, not the whole book. He knows that progress is cumulative. No single defeat defines him because each night he begins again. Remember this, the mind becomes trustworthy only when it is examined. The unexamined mind is like a servant left unsupervised. It becomes careless, wasteful, and rebellious. But the supervised mind becomes disciplined, obedient, and efficient. Self-observation is supervision of the highest kind. You may think this rule tedious, but consider the alternative. A single year of drift of unexamined days can cost you a decade of progress. A single month of reflection can restore that decade. You are not being asked for hours, only minutes of attention that yield years of growth. If you are sincere, this habit will soon become the most sacred part of your day. The quiet hour of reflection will feel like meeting an old friend, your truest self. You will look forward to it, for it will bring relief, clarity, and strength. Others will notice a difference. They will sense peace in your presence, calm in your tone, and maturity in your judgment. You will make fewer impulsive decisions, speak fewer careless words, and carry yourself with quiet authority. You will not need to explain your transformation. It will be self-evident. The day you end consciously begins the next wisely. That is the rhythm of mastery, reflection, correction, continuation. The mind, trained in this rhythm, grows unbreakable. When you lie down tonight, try it. Close your eyes and ask, what did I think today? What did I do? What must I correct? Do not seek perfection. Seek progress. Even one insight is enough. Over time, they will multiply until you find that life itself has changed. Every night you reflect, you plant seeds of tomorrow's greatness. Every insight you record becomes a lamp that lights the next step. Every correction you make saves you from repeating the same mistake. That is how progress is built, not by leaps, but by steady self-awareness. This is the law of self-examination. It is simple, but it is sacred. For a man who knows himself cannot remain defeated. He may stumble, but he will never stay fallen. He may err, but he will never remain blind. His nights give birth to wiser mornings. So tonight begin. Take your pen, your mind, and your courage. Review your day not as judge, but as architect. Forgive where needed, correct where required, and thank the law that allows you to begin anew. Say quietly before you rest, I release today with understanding. I rise tomorrow with wisdom. Each night I examine my life. Each morning I rebuild it. Do this faithfully for 30 days, and you will know the secret of progress that never ends. For the man who examines himself daily walks in perpetual renewal, and for such a man it is never too late. Rule 5. Confer with your mastermind ally for accountability. No man rises alone. Every great dream, every enduring empire, every masterpiece of invention or reform has been built through the combined power of more than one mind, moving in harmony toward a single purpose. The 5th rule is therefore sacred. Find and confer regularly with your mastermind ally, one trusted soul who shares your purpose, your discipline, and your faith in achievement. The crowd influences the average man more than he realizes. If he surrounds himself with the weak, he adopts their hesitation. If he associates with the doubtful, he inherits their fear. Yet, when a man joins minds with another of equal purpose, a mysterious power is born between them. It is as though a third, invisible intelligence takes residence in the space between their thoughts. Napoleon Hill called this mysterious union the mastermind principle, the highest and most sacred form of human cooperation. To understand its value, consider the great alliances of history. Henry Ford met often with Thomas Edison and Harvey Firestone. They exchanged not only ideas but energy. They inspired courage in one another when the world doubted them. Andrew Carnegie gathered a council of 11 men, his mastermind of steel. They debated, corrected, refined, and supported one another until their collective faith built an empire that reshaped industry. These men did not pretend to know everything. They surrounded themselves with those who could see what they could not. A true mastermind ally is not a critic, but a collaborator. He is not there to doubt your dreams, but to strengthen them. He does not flatter you with empty praise, nor poison you with unnecessary correction. His purpose is harmony. He sees your vision, believes in its possibility, and contributes his thought and encouragement to make it real. The ordinary man seeks company to escape thought. The wise man seeks alliance to expand thought. The one joins others to forget his aim. The other joins another to sharpen his aim. Therefore, be careful whom you allow into the sacred circle of your mind. The wrong association can undo years of inner discipline. The right one can multiply your power overnight. The law of the mastermind is not merely social, it is spiritual. When two minds meet in harmony for a definite purpose, they create a channel through which infinite intelligence operates. New ideas, insights, and opportunities flow into their awareness that neither could have reached alone. The divine uses unity as its chosen instrument. It reveals its secrets to those who cooperate in faith. Let me tell you a truth few men understand. Isolation breeds distortion. A man who keeps all his plans secret, who consults no one, who hides his dreams in fear of ridicule, soon loses perspective. His own mind, left to itself, becomes a closed room with stale air. He may still think, but his thinking loses vitality. He begins to repeat himself, to defend old ideas, to mistake stubbornness for strength. The Mastermind Alliance opens the windows of the mind. It lets fresh air in. It allows you to see your plans from new angles, to refine your vision without weakening it. But the wrong ally can ruin you faster than any enemy. The wrong man drains energy through doubt, jealousy, or negativity. A single discouraging voice repeated often enough can break the rhythm of faith you worked years to build. Choose therefore with utmost care. The mastermind must be chosen, not inherited, not stumbled upon. You will know your ally by 3 signs. First, his spirit resonates with faith, not fear. Second, his interest is mutual. He seeks growth as earnestly as you do. Third, he respects law and purpose. He is not tempted by shortcuts or deceit. The moment deceit enters an alliance, power departs. Once you have found such an ally, meet regularly, daily if possible, weekly at minimum. During these conferences, speak your aims aloud. Review your progress, your difficulties, your victories. Each time you do, the invisible current between your minds grows stronger. Your ally may see solutions hidden from your sight. You may awaken confidence dormant in his. Thus both rise together. This principle is older than civilization. It is the same spiritual force behind friendship, marriage, brotherhood, and great reform movements. Two or more minds united in harmony always become greater than the sum of their parts. Nature rewards cooperation because harmony reflects her own law. Even the stars move in harmony. Even the atoms bind together in unity. The man who isolates himself defies universal law, and nature resists him until he learns to unite. Henry Ford once said that he would rather have the counsel of one wise man in harmony with his aim than 1,000 experts who doubted it. He knew that the vibration of one believing mind strengthens courage more than the logic of 100 skeptics. Belief multiplies when shared among equals. Here is how to apply this law in your own life. First, write a brief declaration of your definite purpose. Then, find one person who shares your seriousness, someone not amused by ambition, but devoted to it. Show him your purpose. Ask him to join you in mutual growth. Agree to meet regularly to discuss plans, progress, and principles. Read together, study together, and hold one another accountable. Begin your meetings with this affirmation. Our minds are one in faith and purpose. Our alliance is governed by truth, harmony, and progress. We attract wisdom, opportunity, and strength through our unity. Then proceed to discuss your work. Keep the conversation practical, definite, and constructive. Do not waste your alliance on gossip or trivial complaint. Every word spoken in your council should uplift or instruct. A mastermind meeting is not a social visit. It is a session of creation. Each time you meet, you are shaping ideas that will later shape the world. Accountability is the secret benefit of this rule. When you know that you must report progress to your ally, your mind gains urgency. You begin to value your word again. Many men drift because no one expects their best. But the man who must answer to another for his progress rarely delays. Responsibility to another awakens reliability in oneself. Let me illustrate with a story. A young entrepreneur once struggled with inconsistency. He worked in bursts of enthusiasm followed by weeks of idleness. He asked me why success eluded him. I told him, "Your problem is not talent, it is isolation. You have no one to hold you to your own standard." I advised him to find one ally, a man of purpose, and share his daily aims. He obeyed. Within 6 months, his discipline transformed. The silent accountability of friendship gave him the consistency he had lacked for years. That is the unseen strength of the mastermind. It restores seriousness to your promise. Alone, a man excuses himself. In alliance, he remembers his commitment. Each meeting becomes a mirror reflecting his faith or neglect. If you cannot find a human ally immediately, begin by forming an imaginary mastermind. This is no fantasy. It is a method used by many great thinkers. Napoleon Hill himself created an imaginary council of men he admired: Lincoln, Edison, Carnegie, and others. Each night he would consult them in thought, imagining their counsel. Over time, his subconscious absorbed their wisdom as if they had truly spoken. You may do the same. Choose men or women whose qualities you wish to cultivate, imagine their presence, and ask what they would do. Your mind will answer with remarkable insight. As you advance, a living ally will appear. Law attracts to you the very person whose thought complements your own. The key is harmony. You may differ in detail, but you must agree in principle. Discord breaks power, harmony multiplies it. Guard your alliance carefully. Keep it pure. Do not discuss it lightly with those who mock ambition. Energy, like electricity, leaks through careless exposure. Treat your mastermind as sacred ground. Each conversation within it should uplift, strengthen, and inspire. Let me warn you also against the counterfeit mastermind, those groups that meet to complain, gossip, or revel in mediocrity. Their unity is not harmony, but stagnation. They exchange fear and doubt until each feels justified in his failure. Avoid them as you would poison, for as sure as faith multiplies faith, fear multiplies fear. When two men join in true harmony, others notice. There is a magnetic quality in their presence, a calm certainty that inspires trust. Opportunities seem to seek them. Their combined vibration alters the atmosphere around them. People want to work with them because confidence feels contagious. This is no miracle. It is the natural effect of minds aligned in purpose. Do not imagine that this rule is optional. Even the greatest leaders, inventors, and thinkers depended on allies. Edison had his team of chemists and engineers. Ford had his circle of visionaries. Lincoln had his cabinet of strong men who challenged him with honesty but followed him with faith. The higher your ambition, the greater your need for counsel. When you meet with your ally, be open, speak truth, admit weakness without shame, for honesty is the foundation of progress. Concealed failure cannot be corrected. Trust one another with full sincerity, for mutual faith creates safety. Without trust, the mastermind collapses into mere conversation. Each meeting should end with a shared decision or plan. Action seals the alliance. Words without execution dissolve into air. Then, between meetings, each of you must act, knowing that you will soon report your progress. This rhythm, counsel, action, accountability, is the pulse of power. Say aloud before each meeting, I attract allies who share my vision. Our unity multiplies power. We move as one toward definite purpose. Speak it slowly, deliberately, as a covenant between your conscious and subconscious mind. Over time, this partnership will awaken qualities in you that you did not know existed. Patience, understanding, courage, and foresight all will expand through shared purpose. The mind, when touched by another in harmony, discovers its higher capacities. You will find yourself thinking more clearly, speaking more decisively, and acting with greater conviction. Your ally, too, will grow. For the mastermind enriches all who participate. Even when one seems to give more, both receive equally in unseen ways. The exchange of encouragement, insight, and belief nourishes both spirits. As the weeks pass, your life will begin to show results that appear almost miraculous. Problems that once seemed heavy will dissolve under collective thought. Solutions will arise unexpectedly. Resources will appear. People will cooperate. You will feel as though unseen hands were guiding your plans, and in truth they are. For infinite intelligence always works through harmony. This rule, practiced faithfully, will save you years of wandering. Many men waste decades struggling alone against obstacles that could have been lifted in a single hour of counsel. Pride and secrecy have destroyed more potential than failure ever could. Humility to seek alliance is strength disguised as surrender. You will notice something else as this practice deepens. Your faith in yourself will grow stronger. When you speak your aims aloud to another and see his belief reflect back at you, doubt weakens. Confidence multiplies by reflection. The man who believes alone is strong. The man whose belief is echoed by another becomes unstoppable. Others will soon notice the difference in you. They will see calm determination, quiet certainty, and renewed direction. They may not know the cause, but they will feel the vibration of partnership around you. You will carry the invisible strength of two minds united in one aim. Guard this rule with reverence. The world is full of noise, distraction, and isolation. The mastermind cuts through them like light through fog. It gives you perspective when emotions cloud judgment. It reminds you that your dream is not foolish, your effort not wasted, your struggle not in vain. So begin now. If you know a man or woman of faith and purpose, speak to them today. Invite them into mutual alliance. Explain that you wish not idle talk, but accountability and creation. If you know no one yet, begin with your imaginary counsel. In both cases, you are setting spiritual law in motion. Each day, share progress. Each week, plan together. Each month, celebrate advancement. Never let the rhythm break, for consistency is the soul of power. And when doubt visits you, as it visits all men, go to your ally. Speak your fear aloud. You will find that once spoken in faith, fear shrinks. The same emotion that weakens when hidden transforms into courage when shared in trust. Say to yourself before sleep, I am not alone in my purpose. I am strengthened by unity. My mind joins with other minds in harmony, and together we attract power and opportunity. This is the law of the master mind, spiritual cooperation at its highest form. Through it, a man multiplies his faith, sharpens his purpose, and accelerates his destiny. For one man with a plan may move mountains, but two men in harmony with a plan move the world. The integration, the 30-day rebuild. You now possess the 5 daily rules that can resurrect a man's spirit from the dust of discouragement and rebuild the structure of faith within 30 days. Yet power is not found in knowledge alone. It is found in integration. The man who reads but does not apply is like one who gazes at a map and never takes a step. These 5 rules are the tools. This final part is the architecture. Here, you will learn to combine them into a single rhythm of life, the 30-day rebuild. Imagine these next 30 days as the construction of a new self. Each day is a brick, each rule a tool, each habit a wall rising toward the fortress of confidence. It does not matter where you begin, it matters only that you begin today. For a man cannot rebuild his life tomorrow. Tomorrow is a mirage. The present moment is the only hour when power exists. You may say, can 30 days truly change a life? Let me assure you, it can. Because 30 days of exact obedience to law can correct 30 years of drift. Repetition engraves habit, and habit creates character. The man who obeys spiritual and mental law with consistency soon moves from weakness to mastery, from confusion to command. The first rule each morning, begin with a directed mental exercise, is your cornerstone. You rise early, before the noise of the world begins, and you give your first minutes to thought, not reaction. You sit in silence and direct your mind as a general directs his troops before battle. You decide what emotion will govern the day. You command peace, confidence, and purpose to reign over your thought. By doing this, you master the day before it begins. The second rule, study the philosophy of achievement, is the mortar that binds all other habits together. Each morning or evening, you must feed your mind with truth. The man who ceases to study decays in faith. But when you daily read or listen to words of wisdom, your mind remembers its strength. This rule renews your understanding that all law is alive within you. The third rule, record your 3 to 6 chief aims, is the blueprint of construction. Without it, you may possess tools but no design. Each morning after your mental exercise, take your pen and write your aims. This act organizes the invisible forces of thought into visible direction. You decide what the day shall produce, and the universe cooperates. The fourth rule, examine your thoughts, actions, and failures. Each night is the evening inspection. It is the builder walking through his structure, checking the alignment of every stone. It prevents collapse before it begins. It turns mistakes into teachers and confusion into clarity. Reflection keeps the structure sound. And the fifth rule, confer with your mastermind ally, is the power supply that keeps the entire operation alive. It renews courage when fatigue threatens, restores vision when discouragement clouds it, and multiplies strength through mutual faith. No great structure is built without a council of builders. The secret of the 30-day rebuild lies in rhythm. Each of the 5 rules feeds the others. The morning begins with mind, continues with study, expands into written aim, is evaluated at night, and is strengthened through alliance. When practiced together, they create spiritual momentum so powerful that fear and doubt can no longer find a foothold. To begin your rebuild, you must first make a solemn decision. a decision that these next 30 days will be lived under law. No deviation, no excuses, no neglect. The man who experiments with discipline never finds power. Only he who commits entirely receives the fruit. Write this declaration on paper and speak it aloud. For the next 30 days, I dedicate myself to the daily practice of these 5 rules. I will rise each morning with faith, live each day with purpose, and end each night with reflection. I will rebuild my mind, restore my spirit, and renew my direction. I will not break my promise to myself. This statement is more than a vow. It is a contract between your conscious and subconscious minds. It gives your inner world new marching orders. From this point forward, your subconscious will organize itself to fulfill what you have declared. Now let us build the rhythm of the day. When you awaken, do not reach for distraction. Sit upright, breathe deeply, and center yourself in thought. Say quietly, "This is a new day, and I am its master." Then begin your directed mental exercise. See yourself calm, productive, fearless. Speak the thoughts you wish to rule the day. This is your mental warm-up for the battles ahead. Next, take 10 minutes to study. Read a passage from Think and Grow Rich, or from the Law of Success, or any teaching that nourishes faith and purpose. Do not read for volume. Read for vibration. Let the words sink into your spirit until they stir conviction. You are reprogramming your consciousness, feeding it the food of victory. Then take your notebook and write your 3 to 6 chief aims. Write them as commands, not wishes. Example: I will complete my project with excellence. I will speak with confidence and calm. I will attract 1 new opportunity through faith and preparation. Write them each morning until the act feels sacred. As the day unfolds, you will find your actions drawn toward the aims you have written. The subconscious mind obeys written law. When fatigue comes, recall your list. When distraction tempts you, remember your list. It will pull you back like a compass pointing north. At the close of the day, before sleep, perform your nightly review. Sit in silence and ask yourself, did my thoughts today serve my aims? Did my actions reflect my faith? What must I improve? Write your answers briefly. End the session not with regret, but with decision. Tomorrow I will correct what I missed. You will sleep with peace, and the subconscious will spend the night preparing the corrections you have ordered. At least once a week, meet with your mastermind ally. Share your progress. Discuss your aims, victories, and challenges. Speak honestly. Encourage one another. You will notice that enthusiasm, when shared, multiplies. Energy that was fading will return stronger than before. The very act of verbalizing your progress reinforces belief. This is the system of the 30-day rebuild. It begins with thought, continues with faith, is sustained through discipline, and is strengthened through alliance. Follow it, and your life will change in ways you can scarcely imagine. But I must warn you, some days will test your resolve. There will be mornings when the bed feels heavier than purpose. There will be nights when reflection feels uncomfortable. You may forget, delay, or grow impatient. That is the old self resisting rebirth. Push through it. Repetition is the sword that slays resistance. The mind obeys the master who repeats command. By the 2nd week, something extraordinary will occur. You will begin to feel inner alignment. Your thoughts, words, and actions will start to harmonize. Decisions will come faster. Hesitation will fade. You will feel time expanding as confusion disappears. What once took hours will take minutes, because your energy will no longer leak through indecision. By the 3rd week, others will notice a change. They will say, "You seem calmer," or "You look different." They will feel your new vibration. The confident man carries an unseen power. His very presence speaks. You will begin to attract opportunities because clarity attracts cooperation. By the 4th week, you will no longer be practicing these rules as discipline. They will have become part of you. You will wake automatically with purpose. You will write your aims as instinct. You will reflect at night without effort. You will have rebuilt your habits, and therefore your destiny. Some may ask, why 30 days? Because nature herself works in cycles of repetition. Seeds germinate by rhythm. Habits form by rhythm. The mind accepts new identity through repeated pattern. 30 days of consistent practice is enough to engrave new grooves of thought that will endure long after the period ends. Let me illustrate this through a story. There was once a man who had lost his fortune and his faith. He listened to these 5 rules and decided to test them. For 30 days he rose early, wrote his aims, studied, reflected, and met weekly with a trusted friend. At first, nothing seemed to happen, but by the 2nd week, his despair lifted. By the 3rd, he began to see opportunities he had overlooked. By the 4th, his confidence returned, and with it, business. He later said, "It was as though my mind woke up after years of sleep." His life did not change by chance, it changed by rhythm. Let this story remind you that the universe responds to those who act in harmony with law. There is no magic, only obedience. You cannot drift into strength. You must build it one disciplined day at a time. As you advance through the 30 days, keep a daily record. Each evening, write your observations. How you felt, what improved, what challenged you. This diary will become proof of your transformation. When discouragement whispers, you will open it and see evidence of progress. Nothing strengthens faith like visible record. Now let us look at the greater reward of this rebuild. The external results, better performance, restored confidence, improved relationships are valuable, but they are not the highest fruit. The greatest reward is peace. You will no longer live in the chaos of uncertainty. You will walk with inner order. You will trust yourself again. People around you will sense it. They will come to you for advice, not because of what you say, but because of who you have become. They will feel stability in your presence, and stability is rare in a world of drift. You will inspire without trying. Do not stop after 30 days, continue. The law does not weaken with use, it strengthens. What begins as discipline becomes delight. The mind, once trained in rhythm, craves the order that made it strong. Each new month will deepen your mastery until these rules become as natural as breathing. By now you understand that the purpose of this entire method is not merely success, it is self-command. The man who governs himself no longer fears life, for he has found the seat of power within. He can rebuild fortunes, relationships, and dreams because he has learned to rebuild thought. There is one final truth you must remember. Life will not always look like you expected, but that is not failure. It is correction. The man who follows these rules learns to adapt. He no longer fears the unknown because he knows that no matter the circumstance, his inner structure remains intact. If you feel weak, remember the law. Faith renews itself through repetition. If you feel lost, return to your aims. If you feel alone, speak with your ally. If you feel uncertain, study again. Each rule is a rope that pulls you upward. You cannot fall far when all 5 hold you. Now let us seal this teaching with an affirmation of completion. Speak it aloud with conviction. Each day I am renewed in discipline, faith, and direction. I no longer wander, I build. I no longer fear, I act. I no longer wait, I decide. My habits serve my purpose, and my purpose serves my soul. Repeat this each morning and night until the words no longer sound like hope, but feel like identity. That is when the rebuild is complete. At the end of the 30 days, you will stand before a mirror and see a new reflection. Your eyes will carry calm instead of doubt, your posture confidence instead of fatigue. The same world will appear different because you will be different. And in that moment, when the question arises, is it too late for me? You will smile, for you will know the truth. It was never too late. It was only too undirected. These 30 days are not an experiment. They are a rebirth. You are not repairing an old life. You are constructing a new one. So begin now, not tomorrow, not when conditions improve, now. The next 30 days will pass regardless. The only question is whether they will pass with purpose or drift. Choose purpose. For the man who applies these 5 rules with sincerity will find that 30 days of lawful living redeem years of hesitation. And once redeemed, he will never again doubt the power that lives within him. Say this as your final decree: I have begun. I build each day through law, through thought, through faith, through reflection, through unity. My life obeys my discipline. My destiny answers to my decision. I am renewed, I am directed, I am free. And so the next 30 days are not a challenge. They are a covenant. Keep them, and life will keep its promise. For no man who lives under law with faith, purpose, and persistence can ever again believe that it is too late.